Oh, yeah. Five-star. LSU. I said, they ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU, huh? They ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU. We the best in the league if you looking for talent. LSU going hard, but we beat Alabama, then we going out to Florida. Drown the Gators, everybody getting bucked when we step in the stadium. This the LSU anthem, you know it's a hit. You don't know another rapper two-step like this. See me screaming out the window, yelling purple and gold. I'm an LSU fan, girl, you know how we roll now. Back and back it on up, hey. 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 Way down in the back.
TA, we live.
Oh, that's funny. That's a good one. I shouldn't be laughing, but it's funny.
Well, yep.
Yep.
That sucked.
I can't say that I didn't feel it a little bit. Like Bobby even texted me, Bobby texted me and he was like, I'm really nervous. I don't know why, but I'm nervous. And I think I felt the same thing. I was like,
I mean, what did we say on the show?
Something doesn't feel right. And then, but I guess kind of put it off. I was like, this team's really bad. We'll beat them.
What did we say on the show? What did we say?
They could definitely
come ready.
You got to be ready.
They have nothing to lose. It's their final game. You have to be ready to play this game. I mean, the whole premise of what we talked about was not allowing them to have a chance to essentially choke the game away early, to not allow them to have hope that they're in this, they can do this. And that's exactly what you did, Zach. I mean, you did it the entire game. You had turnovers, you had drop passes, you had penalties, you had freaking special teams every single game. I mean, I don't know, Zach. It just bad calls. I mean, it stinks.
I think I said it. I don't know if I texted it or tweeted it. I might have tweeted it, but literally everything went their way. Everything. Turnovers went their way. The turnover battle went their way. The calls went their way. 50-50 balls went their way. And we'll get into that. The momentum swings went their way. Everything went A&M's way. It just was not LSU's night, and it was A&M's night. It was A&M's night. Credit to them for coming ready. And, I think LSU still was ready to play because they still fought back through the adversity. But every time they'd fight back, something would happen that would kill that fight. Whether it was a bad call on the refs, whether it was, the fumble by JD, whether it was a lucky catch by Moose Muhammad, what would have been an interception by Sage Ryan. It just every single thing went their way. Ryan says, I'm moving on to Georgia. Listen.
I mean, you got to, I guess.
You got to. Bottom line, LSU didn't show up to play. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. I got, after that play that I just mentioned where 3rd and long, and you look like you stop it. I mean, you really look like you stopped it. And the ball's juggled around by Sage, and it just so happens to get into the hands of Moose Muhammad. He breaks free a little bit. And right when you're going, okay, we can get off the field and get the ball back and try and tie this thing up. Next thing you know, they're up 2 touchdowns. Or maybe at that point it was 3 touchdowns. I can't remember exactly. But either way, it was really hard to watch. And I got to say, honestly, Reagan, when you have a loss like this, I have to take a break. I have to take a break from it. As I just You know, it's very as an LSU fan. Obviously, we do the show, Reagan, and we try to be realist. But there, we're also at heart just LSU fans, and I have to take a break. I can't do it right now until I need a break from it, and then I need to get hype for LSU Georgia. I had to do it against Florida State because there was so much hype going into the Florida State game, and you have an extreme letdown. I had to take a break until we played whoever it was, the crap team that I think it was Southern or whoever. I can't remember. The next week, and that's what I'm gonna have to do. I'm just gonna have to take a break and then get myself hyped up and try to, have some encouragement going into the Georgia game because I do still believe that LSU can compete against Georgia, and I do think they're a lot better team than what they were on Saturday.
No
I mean,
question.
you probably you definitely played one of your worst games defensively. Obviously Tennessee was really bad. It's between the Tennessee game and this game that you played against A&M, one of your worst games.
Yeah, I mean, this one hurt. I mean, this one hurt more than the Florida State and the Tennessee game. I mean, this one hurt more. I mean, you had everything ahead of you. You had playoff, hope ahead of you, and you just had to take care of business, and you didn't. But, man, you got a quick turnaround. You got to buckle right back up, and you got to go play the top team in the country, Zach. I mean, it's no rest for the weary here. Yeah. We can't be feeling sorry for ourselves because if we're kicking ourselves come Saturday, we're going to get trounced all over again. And
beat yourself twice.
Yeah, I mean, you could really hurt yourself. So, I mean, you got to scrub it quickly. To talk about the game, I mean, the first half you struggled. Aitchen really just ran all over you the first half. You had no answer for Aitchen in the first half, and you were thinking, okay, we got to come out and we really don't need a lot. They had the second half, first opening possession. You got a 3-and-out, and you went down. You tied the game. Then you got another 3-and-out, and you're thinking, oh, here we go. Let's take control. This is the LSU team we've seen. And then the scoop and score happened. And I mean, they never really looked back after that, Zach. I mean, it was just right after that. I mean, it was just frustration after frustration, mistakes and penalties, and you got to flush it though. You really got to flush it if you want to compete for an SEC title. You still have the chance to go be SEC champs, Zach. I mean, it really stinks that the regular season ended this way. But look, I can't help but think, man, we were thinking about it on Friday. I mean, we were literally talking about it. I mean, we were talking about, hey, this is a team who's 4-7, yes, but they have talent, and it can show if you let it. And boy, they let it show. I mean, Weigman looked like the top quarterback recruit. Moose Muhammad looked like a fantastic receiver. Aitchen, looked like himself.
Like a Heisman contender.
Yeah, right. And then of course, Evan Stewart had some flashes, and you're like, okay, here's this young team that has talent, and this is what they can be. And they really. I mean, you just got to tip your cap. I mean, they
paid all in our cornflakes. They
did. They did, and you just got to tip your cap. I mean, because they were more physical. Honestly, Zach, they won the line of scrimmage, and that has not been something that LSU has lost a lot, especially from our defensive front.
Yeah,
our defensive front lost the other night. And you could, with Aitchen, you just have to. You have to dominate the line of scrimmage. You have to smother it. You have to fill the gaps and not allow him to get space. And so many times, Zach, he just followed his blocks. And when he had an opening, he took advantage of it. And you just can't give that guy, a guy like that, so many opportunities, and we did time and time again.
Well, I really thought they should have stacked the box more than they did.
Yes.
I mean, Weigman only threw the ball 15
picking up the 3rd and 12. Oh, my
It
goodness.
It was brutal. Like Weigman is not really known for running the football. He's not a dual threat quarterback. He's a pocket passer. And there was 2 or 3 times he ripped off runs because there was nobody there. Like, where's Perkins? Where's Harold Perkins at to spy? It was very frustrating.
Well, I mean, I guess you weren't planning for that to happen, so you didn't have a spy. You know what I mean? Like, you leave a spy for Bryce Young. You leave a spy for a spy for Hendon Hooker. But you weren't expecting to need that against Weigman, and there was, I think it was a 3rd and 12 in the first half that you had nobody in the box, and you dropped everybody back in coverage. And you know what beats that? A QB draw, and it did. But man, it just stunk. It really did. I mean, this one really, really just was a gut punch. But man, you can quickly turn it around. You have the opportunity to quickly turn it around. And look, you really saw now, and we can point to these things, and it's no excuse, but we shouldn't make excuses because we should have beaten that team regardless. But boy, oh boy, you saw the value of Jarek Bernard Converse.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think those things happen with Bernard Converse out there. The catches that Muhammad made, I just don't see that happening with Bernard in there. I mean, that's not something you've seen since the Tennessee game.
Yeah,
and A&M ain't Tennessee. Their passing offense is not what Tennessee is, so that shouldn't have happened. But you really were hurting without Converse in, which thankfully Brian Kelly, it looks like Bernard Converse is going to be back for that game. And honestly, people are like, well, Josh Williams was out too. Shoot, John Emery ran for 3 touchdowns, guys.
Yep.
I mean, he was out, but you weren't really missing that much. The dude ran for 3 touchdowns, dude.
Yeah.
You had some drop passes that hurt you really bad. I mean, opening drive, 3rd and 2, Kyron Lacey. Right in your hit both of your hands. I mean, you have got to catch it. You've got to. No, the opening drive was the one.
No, you're right. No, you're right.
The opening drive was the one that was a little tall.
Yes, that's correct.
But it still hit his hands.
Now the other one was
when he was sent in motion over the he was sent in motion, and they were going to dump it off to him, and it literally hits him here, not here, here.
Yeah,
and he was looking ahead. I mean,
and that's you probably end up turning that into 6 instead of 3.
Yeah, I mean, it was brutal. I mean, it was a night when the ball didn't bounce your way. It was a night when the calls didn't go your way. It was a night when everything went against you. And guess what? You were in Kyle Field, so that played a factor. It just stunk. I mean, it really did. It just felt like the team was a little dead too. I don't know where that come from. I feel like this team has never needed, a boost, has never needed something to energize them. It always felt like this team had brought energy themselves. Like,
well, I mean,
they were there to bring their own energy.
That's what Ellen says. Injuries were not why we lost. No fire or enthusiasm to play. I think that was definitely lacking, and it's kind of confusing because how much BK and his staff harps on, playing in the moment and recognizing that this is a game that you can lose and a game you need to focus on, and the opponent that you're playing and the task at hand, and you can only preach that so much, but you have to have a buy-in by the players, and I agree. It felt like there was a little lack. I mean, how much now? I mean, obviously this has probably been talked about. How much of it goes into, some of the teams struggling with the flu and getting over that? I mean, if any, I think more so it had to do with just the focus, a lack of focus.
A lack of execution as
lack
well.
Of execution, yep.
The execution, I don't know. It just everything about it felt a little bit off, and it did not look like our offense has been. It didn't look like our defense. It sure didn't look like our defense.
Yeah,
sure didn't look like our defense.
Almost 24 points.
I mean,
and if it's not for a terrible missed PI call that got picked up, it was literally called, and they picked it up.
Before
and then you had a really weak holding call that was nowhere near the runner. I mean, it was after the runner had already gone past him, and he had him like this. I mean, he had him, in his chest, and then he got turned around a little bit,
and he let go,
and he kind of held him a little bit, and then let go, and it was just like. It was
typically
really
when the runner's passed and then something happens like that and you let go, like you let it be.
It was a really, really weak. I thought it was going to be a worse holding call. Then I saw it and I was like, "Ooh, that's really weak." And so you had that call. It was frustrating to have to see both those calls go Texas A&M's way, and
also
the balls that went their way, the one-handed snag, the almost interception. I mean, it is, as you said, it just seemed like something was off, and everything.
The one I didn't understand was Jeray's catch.
Yeah, that one too.
I mean,
by that time I had turned it off, but I saw it on Twitter, and I was like, you have a chance. You score a touchdown there.
You have all 3 timeouts. Yes,
take all 3 timeouts. And you have a chance to get the ball back there. And, that's unfortunate that that's another call that went their way. And when I was on Twitter, I was like, I wasn't watching it because I was too upset. But then I was like, all right, let me follow on Twitter. They scored a touchdown and they're driving and they could have a chance here. And I see, that it's incomplete, the last, and then like, oh, hold on now. We got a review. And everybody's like, it's a catch. And then it's like, nope. Call went their way anyways. I was like, thank God I didn't turn it back.
He literally is
more pissed.
I mean, he literally secures it with both hands, takes a step,
turns
in
around
the end zone, is then shoved, takes about a step and a half, falls to the ground, then the ball comes out. And all of that happens out of bounds. Like full possession, takes the step within the bounds, then is shoved, and then takes about a step and a half to 2 steps. And then when he hits the ground, then the ball comes out. It's like he had full possession of it all the way down. Like I don't even know what a catch is anymore. Like what is a catch? I don't know. But that didn't go your way. I mean, you did. That was kind of your miracle, right? Like it would take a miracle at that point. Like if they call it a touchdown, if they call it a touchdown, which we'll go back to this, I'm kicking the field goal there, going down 8. Like I'm going to kick the PAT there, go down 8, try to stop them before they get a timeout, call all 3 timeouts, then go try to score a touchdown. And then at that point, you have to go for 2. That's what I would have done. But let's back up. When you scored the touchdown to make it 23-38, why in the world you go for 2?
I don't know.
Why are you going for 2? I just – have you not learned the lesson of other people's mistakes for doing that? I mean, Alabama made that mistake. Brian Kelly said the analytics said you go for it there, and I'm like, what do you mean? I did not understand the call. Like you are 3 touchdowns behind. You just got 1. Make it a 14-point game. Go get a stop. Try to score again. Like you don't put.
What you did. You got to stop.
You don't put yourself in a compromising situation, which you did, where you go down by 8 instead of 7. Like you have to get all the points. You got to make up a 21-point deficit. You don't try to go for 2. Like I don't
Ryan
know.
says a 13-point game allows you to win the game with 2 touchdowns. I mean, I get that. I get that, but
It allows you to win the game, but when you are
in a game that you had played really bad,
you only have 6 minutes on the clock, and you got to score 2 more touchdowns, and they get the ball back. You just you take the secure thing when you're behind like that. I don't know. Anyways, I just yes, I get like you win the game at that point, but then you also put yourself in a situation where you have to go for 2 now.
Well, you have to go
at some point.
I mean,
you didn't have to go for 2. If you just kick the field goals, the PATs,
you go to overtime.
You tie the game if the miraculous happens. You already got to do something miraculous. You got to score 21 points
Might as well
within less than 1 quarter.
Make it easier.
Don't make it worse on yourself.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't understand.
Don't make it harder.
How did the analytics say?
I don't know.
There? I feel like the analytics would say just to kick the field goal.
Right. I don't know. I guess
at that point they're going, hey, we're down 3 touchdowns. As bad as it is, if we go for 2 and the miracle happens, we give our chance to get out of this game without having to go over. I don't know. But either way, yeah, right. Easier to make PATs for sure. For sure. It's rough, Reagan. It's not fun. I'm not gonna lie. It's not. It was not.
I mean, it was a terrible game. It was just a bad game. It just was. Felt like I don't know. It just felt like something was off. It just didn't feel.
Here's an interesting take. He said, "I'll be okay with beating A&M and losing to Georgia than losing to A&M and beating Georgia because we were never supposed to beat Georgia's year."
I agree.
I agree. But if you beat Georgia, I think it makes
SEC champs and you feel okay. I mean, yeah.
If you beat Georgia, it makes up. But even I told Reagan this, and maybe this is the pessimism in me. Did I say that correctly? Pessimism, yeah. Maybe it's just the pessimism in me, but it feels like you beat Georgia, then you're gonna look back and go, oh,
good grief, we beat A&M, we're in the freaking playoffs.
Beat A&M, we're in the playoffs right now. So I feel like either way, it's not a good season. Like you beat Georgia this week, you're still gonna look back and go, this sucks. Yeah. Like that really sucked. And then if you lose, then obviously it still sucks because you're like, well, if we'd beat A&M, then we'd have a 10-win season and we wouldn't have to worry about winning the bowl game, because if you lose to Georgia, you're going to have to go, all right, we have to win the bowl game to get 10 wins. Either way, Reagan, you're ahead of schedule. And, I know this kind of gets into the point of, is it time to give up? Obviously, the answer to that is no. Obviously, we put that in there because that's the overreaction. The obvious answer is no. You go and you fight and you try to knock off a team that seems unbeatable. And, if you do that, you're SEC champions and then you have a chance to go and play in the New Year's Six Bowl, which I feel like, if they win the SEC championship game, they would be in a New Year's Six Bowl. You'd be the second best team in the SEC. I understand that's, with Tennessee having 2 losses in the SEC. Huh?
You're SEC champs.
I mean, yeah, I guess technically. I guess technically. Rankings wise, though, you're not. So, you can't. I don't know if you can claim the best team in the SEC. Whenever you lost,
your SEC champs.
You lost to Tennessee. You lost to A&M. A really, really bad A&M. But you have a chance to take the title of SEC champion and knock off the giant in the Georgia Bulldogs. So obviously it's not time to give up. And as I said a minute ago, you are ahead of schedule. So as much as this sucks, and I'm with you, LSU fans, it sucks right now. It really does. I hated having to watch that. I'm hating having to think about it right now and recover it because I honestly just wanted to forget it and move on. I didn't want to recap
it tonight. No
desire.
I hate to say that, but I guess I'm by myself right now. Y'all get a great view of the Christmas tree now. It's Christmas season now. Thanksgiving's over. I just lost Zach completely. I don't know what happened. Yeah, I kind of go off Zach's point there.
I'm back.
What happened to you?
I have no clue, but I'm back.
Yeah, you just dropped out. I was like, okay. So you were saying we were ahead of schedule, and I kind of wanted to bounce off of that. For all the people who may be really quick, which I can't stand this, Zach. I think LSU fans may be the worst about it. I mean, you are high, loving it when they're good and they're beating Bama, but as soon as something happens, I mean, like the negativity just spews. The hatred just spews.
Yeah,
guys,
there's obviously room to be. I think you are allowed to be upset and disappointed
and critiquing, yes, like
and allowed to critique.
Hey, Brian Kelly,
to just
why you go for 2? Yeah,
to completely go to the opposite side of the spectrum and just, like you said, spew negativity and
just
hatred.
Like which I haven't seen too much of it, which I'm glad. But like if you're dogging Brian Kelly, like dragging him through the mud, and we're sitting here 9-3 playing in the SEC championship, you got to rethink some things, like your expectations. Look, if you'd have told me we can play this game, Zach. If you'd have told me we were 9-3 and we beat Bama and we're playing for the SEC championship at the beginning of the season, I would have taken it 10 times out of 10. You tell me we beat Bama and we're in the SEC title and we're 9-3? Absolutely. I mean, no question. I take it all day, every day. So in the moment right now, like considering where we had positioned ourselves, yes, it sucks because you're out of the playoff picture now. But guys, we're going to play for the SEC title and we're 9-3, and you beat Bama this year. Yeah. Like the cloud that is Bama is not continually to hang over you, because it felt like I don't know about you, but for me, it just felt like the cloud of Alabama just hangs over LSU for so many years now. And it felt like, 2019, you broke free of that. And then you had the 2 really crappy seasons, and you didn't want to fall back into a habitual streak of Bama beating you every year. And then you rehire and Bama, and you beat Bama year 1. Like,
feels like that
is a huge accomplishment. That is a massive accomplishment as a program, because you just beat the marquee team in the division year 1 under Brian Kelly. After beating Bama, I knew we were playing with house money. Yeah, so like you just can't like throw this season like, well, this is crap now, guys. We've done this is year 1, BK. This is year 1, BK. And guys, next year we very well could return this entire offense and defense, save a handful of players.
Well, you're gonna lose.
Keyshawn, Dre.
You're gonna lose a lot on defense. You're not gonna return that much on defense. I'm just gonna be honest.
Our defensive line is.
You're gonna lose BJ. You're gonna lose BJ. You're gonna lose BJ. You're gonna lose
Ali. Yeah, but you got Mason Smith,
you could lose Jaquelin Roy. You're going to lose
Jones,
Jarrett Bernard Converse. You're going to lose Mackay
Williams.
You're going to lose Jay Ward. You're going to lose a lot of guys.
But you're going to go in the portal too, though. I mean, we did that this year. But your offense,
you're right. You basically return everybody minus Keyshawn.
Yes,
who hasn't been a major factor this year.
Yes, offense. I mean, you just. This is an incredible accomplishment. So you can't just throw trash at Brian Kelly for this accomplishment at year 1. I mean, it was incredible. What is Peyton saying here? Beating Bama is not our end goal.
That's true. At least for me, it's not. We are LSU. Kelly is, and you're right. He's right.
Yeah, you're right, but I wasn't saying that was the end goal. That's not what I was saying.
That's not the end goal.
It's not what I was saying. I'm saying year 1, we got over that hump. You said he's supposed to get over that higher. He got over it year 1. That's what I'm saying. That cloud does not continue to hang over you. That's not the end goal. The end goal is to win championships, and
sure.
You're playing for one on Saturday. Your goal is to win SEC championships, national championships. You're playing for one Saturday, and it's year one. Like we just cannot throw everything out.
You can't expect a playoff every single year, especially not this year one. I mean, when nobody expected the SEC championship, and yet we're here. So, and I do agree with Ryan. You've been playing with some house money. You have done some things that you weren't expected to do. Got some wins you weren't expected to win.
No doubt.
And so, and you're ahead of schedule, as we've mentioned, and as a lot of people have mentioned multiple times. So, as much as it sucks, you got to wipe it and get pumped for Georgia, because I fully believe and expect them to fight. I honestly believe that it's going to be a better game than Texas A&M. I honestly believe that. I could be dead wrong, and Georgia comes out and they just dominate. And they play like the Georgia team that they can be, because I think they're a lot better team than they've been playing, than the game that they played, against Georgia, than the game they played against Missouri and Kent State. They're a lot better team than those teams. But what happens if you get that team? And more recently, you've been seeing that team a lot more. I mean, against Georgia or against Kentucky, you saw a team. Against Georgia Tech, you saw a team in the first half, certainly. So what happens if you get that Georgia and LSU plays like the LSU from Florida, from Bama, from Ole Miss? What happens? I mean, I really like our chances.
Yeah. I mean, you would love for us to go out there and compete and have a great game. And yes, I know what you're saying about us maybe seeing the Georgia team that's been kind of hanging around lately. The Kentucky one, Kent State, Missouri. I don't know. I just fully expect Kirby Smart to be ready to go come Saturday. So you better be also. Zach, there's a bunch of comments coming in. I mean, probably need to get to some of them here.
Ryan said offense could return 10. Because Jaden, Josh Williams, your entire starting five on the line, Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors, and then
Brian Thomas technically isn't a starter.
Who is? Dre?
It's been Malik, Kayshawn, and Dre.
Okay, so take away Dre. So 9. You're getting more than 8. 8 starters on defense. I don't know if you're saying that's what we're losing or that's what we're getting back. You'll get, obviously, you're also losing Mike Baskerville. You'll get one linebacker back and Harold Perkins. You'll get Greg Penn back. You'll get Mekhi Wingo back. Maybe Jaquelin Roy. Maybe. But
Roy may be gone.
For the sake of, let's just say the sake of that, we're going to take him away, that he leaves. So you have Mekhi, Harold Perkins, Greg Penn.
He's at 8 losing on defense.
Sage Ryan.
He said you're losing 8 on defense.
Yeah, losing 8. So,
but you also have some guys that have played that still aren't technically your starters.
Sevyn Banks will be back. You fully expect
you're going to have to hit the portal for the DB room again.
Yeah, you're going to have to hit.
You haven't developed. We were hit so hard last year within the DB room. Like we'll have to do that, again, and continue to recruit the DB position to build that back up.
Yep, you're going to have to. So it's going to be tough. Let's see. Peyton said it doesn't matter what we expect. It's the fact that you were there and had it in front of you and laid it. Yeah. I look, with that sentiment, Peyton, I understand. It does suck.
I get it, but I get it, but you still have to keep year one perspective in the frame of mind.
I mean, Peyton. I know I fully didn't expect them to go 9-3 with and be an SEC championship. I don't think anybody did. I mean, if you did, then you really weren't a realist. If you were more of a realist, then you look at what LSU had, it being year one, and you go, okay, this is going to be a 8-4, 7-5, at best 9-3 season, and not going to the SEC championship game. That's what some people expected, and you're 9-3. You hit your ceiling, what a lot of people thought was the ceiling, and you're in the SEC championship game. So I understand why you're upset, Peyton, but you got to look at the positive. Look at the positive. Don't be like me. Don't be like he also said, why can't LSU of the next 10 years be the Bama of the last 10? We have the talent, just need coaching to put together. And you have the coaching now. You got to get the roster back together.
I absolutely think, and I think they can be the Bama of the next 10 years. Oh, well, the LSU.
You have to worry about Georgia.
You think about what Nick Saban came in, and Brian Kelly had a better year one than Nick Saban did.
Yep.
So, you're already trending in the right direction. So,
For
absolutely. Sure. I think we can. I'll tell you what, Zach. Ryan is saying you got to get 6 DBs, probably 8. I'll tell you what, we're going to have to hit the portal on that position. But if you go land Desmond Ricks and Taviano, you got LaTerrence Welch on the team. Like you made him, Jordan Allen, which he may end up being like a nickel guy, but like your outside DBs, like if you go get Desmond Ricks, Desmond Ricks may be day one starter, Zach. He might just be day one starter. So, maybe if you go get somebody like that, maybe you don't have to hit the portal as hard. You're going to have to, but you want to build the team through the recruiting. The freshman class is coming in. So, and as of right now, it looks like LSU's in a good position for a guy like Desmond Ricks. I kind of like our chances with him and Taviano.
And that'll be this upcoming month, the end of December.
Yeah, no doubt. No question.
All right, guys, let's take a quick break, and then we'll be back. We've talked football. Let's make a transition to the hardwood and discuss some men's and women's basketball. We'll be right back after this.
5-Star Hero, your intro and outro music for the Tigers Avenue show. They ain't ready for that LSU. Go check out all his other music on all the major platforms. Don't forget to follow him on Instagram at Saints Anthem and at Twitter at One Nation Doty. Don't forget to check out his Facebook page for all his Saints and LSU merchandise. Can't get any better than Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law. Her firm focuses on the needs of the elderly and maintaining their dignity throughout the process. Here for you, here for your family. Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law.
All right. Peyton said, it's tell me TA. Tell me TA. Do y'all think there is something to these two defensive linemen all of a sudden recommitting? With Darren Reed, I think.
I guess he meant decommitting.
He decommitted, and then it looks like he's going to Auburn. He committed to Auburn. I think that obviously the new coaching hire, which obviously Reagan news, Hugh Freeze is going to Auburn.
I meant to mention that earlier.
So very interesting.
The SEC just got even tougher.
Exactly. Because I think I like the hire of Hugh Freeze. I know we were on Blake's show, and him and Carter aren't as high. I like Hugh Freeze. I think he's going to be dangerous at Auburn. And Darren Reed, I think obviously was just you lost him due to the fact that Auburn hired their guy. He's closer to Georgia. He's over there in Columbus, or to Auburn. He's over there in Columbus, Georgia.
Stay close to home.
And then, as Ryan says, with Joshua Mickens, his father died, and you got to believe he wants to be closer to home. So
I wouldn't look too much into it.
Honestly, wouldn't look too much into it.
We're going to be fine.
Yeah, they're still going to have a phenomenal recruiting class. As Reagan mentioned, you have the 5-star Desmond Ricks, who very, very much looks like he will be going to LSU, as well as Taviano. And those are two positions that you need, as we just were talking about. You need DB.
Defensive line, you can afford to lose some on it. Like you got depth already on the team, and you've got some guys coming in like
Jackson Howard,
Deshaun Womack. Deshaun Womack, if you lost Womack, that would suck. But Womack's still committed, and he's the best one of all of them.
Yeah, I agree. So, anyways, I wouldn't look too much in that Peyton. Now, I mean, if you lose Deshaun Womack and you lose Jackson Howard, maybe you start freaking out.
Yeah, but Jackson Howard and Womack are the best of them of the four. So I wouldn't be too worried about it.
Don't be too worried about it. All right, let's get into basketball, Reagan. Obviously, LSU coming off the loss to Kansas State, they get a dub over Wofford, but it was not pretty. It did not look good.
Zach, are you still going to keep standing on this little stance that they're better than last year's team? You going to keep holding to that?
I don't know. After
Wofford, woof, woof, woof.
Yeah, it didn't look good. But hey, Adam Miller looked good. 26 points, man. He was 9 of 13. He looked good.
I was sitting there watching that game like, I mean, I'm not upset with them. It's very much so. It is very much a first-year team. Very much so.
Exactly. I really like, though, what we continue to see. I mean, obviously, Adam Miller and KJ Williams are your best players, and they show it. I mean, KJ Williams has been dominant. I still don't know why you would take Efton Reed over KJ Williams, because KJ Williams, when he has been dominating.
He's like a 4-year senior, Zach. He should be.
Okay, so
he should be.
Okay.
And you only get 1 year of it. That's all you get.
That's all you get. We talked this team versus last year's team. And this team,
this year versus last year's team, yes, I would take KJ Williams.
Okay,
yes.
You had said Efton before.
Yes.
You had said Efton before.
But I'm taking Efton all day long if we can have him on the team.
I mean, I get that, but we were talking strictly this year. Strictly this year, you take KJ. And you take Adam over Brandon Murray. So, anyways. And then, guys like Trey Hannibal. Trey Hannibal had a good night. He had 12 points. Derek Fountain, obviously not doing a whole lot offensively, but he's been very, very impressive on the defensive end. So, yeah, I got to be honest. I was not impressed with the way the game went against Wofford, but what matters is you got to win. And
struggle
win. So, Reagan, real quick, I know you're not high on it, but look, Reagan, they shot 52%. Their shooting is improving. I understand there is times when it looks terrible. And I agree. There's times when it looks terrible. 78 points, but 78 points ain't bad, Reagan. I mean, that's decent.
It's not bad, but you shouldn't be struggling with Wofford.
And they look.
If you're going to score 78 points, Wofford should be only putting up like 54.
I agree.
You go look at the teams they've played. Zach, they ain't played nobody. They ain't played nobody.
Which it's confusing because they have times when they just clamp down defensively, and then they have times when it's both sides of the ball.
It's inconsistent.
It's inconsistent on both sides of the ball. They have times when they look really good defensively and they put the clamps down, and then they have times where it's just like they're giving up easy buckets and they can't stop. They can't stop anything. And then they have times offensively where they're just taking great shots. They're taking higher percentage shots, and they're making them. And then there's times where it just looks like the offense is stagnant and they don't know what they're doing, and they're heaving up, terrible shot selections. But they get in the win column, and they get done, and they continue to shoot well from the 3-point line. They were over 40%. They were around 42% from the 3-point line. Again, they're shooting phenomenal. Obviously, a lot of that due to Adam Miller and his sharp shooting skills. He went 6 of 9 from behind the 3-point range. I mean, that's impressive.
That was good.
Very impressive. KJ Williams, obviously dominant on the inside. So, Reagan, we've talked about it a lot. What's your take from LSU? Obviously, they'll play Friday, so we will probably end up previewing that game. They play Friday at 7 p.m., so we'll probably have to go earlier on Friday around 6. I imagine that's when we'll go Friday because of the game. So we'll preview that game and discuss that a little bit. That should be a game that LSU wins heavily and dominates. But what's your?
You hope so.
You would hope so. So what's your take so far coming out of the loss in the Cayman Island Classics Championship, winning this game, and then heading into UT Arlington? What are some things that we've talked about the inconsistency. We've talked about all that. I've mentioned all that. What do you have to add to what you've seen from this basketball team?
Zach, it is what I said it was. It's just a new team that's been – this is the most pieced together thing I have ever seen. Thank God for the transfer portal. Thank God for the transfer. Could you imagine trying to play this year, before the transfer portal was a thing? Could you imagine what our team would be like this year?
It'd be pretty rough. Yeah,
it would be. Parker Edwards may have been a starter, bro. Like back
in the Trenton Johnson days.
Golly. I'm telling you right now,
days when you got band members playing.
I'm not like disappointed. Like you've got to give this team time. You've got to give this team, more and more in-game play and reps. So, I'm not upset. I'm not like shocked. Like my expectation has been very, what's the word? I have monitored my expectation very much. Like watching them play in the non-conference schedule so far as that, like we need to expect to be in the bottom half of the SEC. Like that's what we fully need to expect for this year. Can we grow and get better and maybe play middle of the pack SEC? Like maybe. But, you're looking at Arkansas and you're looking at Auburn and you're looking at Kentucky and you are looking at Alabama. We're just not going to compete for the SEC this year. Alabama just came off a Michigan State and a North Carolina victory.
Yeah.
Like big-time games. And Arkansas was competing in big games. They had the tough, game against Creighton. We had the tough game against San Diego State. That was a ranked opponent that they beat. Like, you're going to have to manage your expectations a lot this year, and you're just going to have to take it as it comes. Because I just don't think it's going to be that successful of a season, Zach. I hate to say that, but it's just not going to be a very great season basketball-wise.
Well, as we said, you need to manage your expectations this season, obviously, with it being a complete rebuild. Manage the don't have expectations. Just enjoy it while it's good, and they'll grow through the hard times.
Watch it as it comes. That's how you get on. That's how we. Honestly, that's how I approached the football season after the Florida State loss. Like I was upset, Zach.
Game at a time.
I was more upset the fact that we were there and it happened the way it happened.
Yeah, that sucks.
I was more upset about that than the actual loss because. You have a transfer portal like team, a new staff, a new everything, a new quarterback, a new system, a new everything.
Yeah.
And for you to go tooth and nail down to the end, it really wasn't that disappointing. Year 3 under Mike Norvell, year 3 for Jordan Travis as a starter, which by the way, Jordan Travis has a very underrated year. Like nobody's talking. They're not talking about him enough nationally. Like for you to go down tooth and nail and play them that way, it really wasn't that upsetting. Like that was really a good game 1. So you had to take it a game at a time, and they grew and they gelled, and it looks better, and they looked more competitive, and they won some really big games. Maybe that happens with the basketball team. I don't think you have as much talent on this team to do, which comparing football and basketball, I don't think it works. But
yeah,
I think you have the talent on the football team to do what they did under a coach like Brian Kelly. and I'm not discrediting Matt McMahon, but the Matt McMahon hire is not a Brian Kelly hire. Hiring Brian Kelly, it was like hiring Izzo, like getting him to leave Michigan State to come down to LSU. That was a massive hire. And
Matt McMahon's like hiring Lance Leopold.
Exactly. Hiring Matt McMahon is like hiring Lance Leopold. That's
what's
a great
the guy from Coastal Carolina? I'm going blank.
Jamie Chadwell. Yes, like that, or really Billy Napier.
Yeah,
like that's kind of the comparison. Like you went to a group of 5 team where a guy's been doing really well, not discrediting him at all, but he's been doing great, and you're probably about to face some sanctions, and he's making $500K, and you can afford him, and he'll hang on for a while, even through the rough period of whatever these sanctions may bring. So this probably is going to be a slower build. This will be a true 2-3 year build. Like I fully expect next year for us to start competing decently in the SEC. Then come year 3, maybe we can talk about being one of the top 3 teams in the SEC. This year and next year, you really got to manage your expectations because I think it's going to be a slower build. It just is.
So you may not compete this year in men's basketball, but you will be.
You will compete in women's. Yeah.
No question. They obviously go undefeated at the Goombay Splash, whatever you want to call it.
Down in Bimini or whatever.
Out in Bimini, which the girls look like they were having a blast out there.
They were.
Gambling, riding jet skis, just having a ball, So they go undefeated. They obviously beat George Mason. Strange enough, Reagan, they did not score 100 points out there. They weren't at home. They weren't at home. But dude, let me tell you something. I watched both those games. Both of them were on the weird streaming app, Flow
Hoops.
Yeah, like the men's were. But let me tell you something, dude. Nobody could hang with Angel Reese. Nobody.
No.
There was not a team.
She might be the best player in all of college basketball.
She might very well might be the best. Dude, she
averaging.
They were running the same thing. They were bringing the ball up the court, and it was just get it to Angel down low. And they get it down to her, and she makes a couple moves, and it's over. It's over. It's an easy lay-in every time. I mean,
she's not even your leading minutes. Like she don't play the most minutes
because she doesn't have to. Because
she does not have
everybody.
To.
And that's what's really impressive. They got a game tomorrow, which I will definitely be watching because I love watching them, man. They just it's so easy. Everything comes so easy to them. Like I'm really excited to see when they get into SEC play, how they compete. Obviously the teams they're playing right now are not good, but it's good that you're working out some kinks, getting some things fix that you need to against these easy opponents so that when you play the hard teams, your strengths will show more than your weaknesses. And dude, they're absolutely dominating right now.
No question.
Angel Reese. So let's just go back and look. I want to look at these games as well. Let's go back and look at the box scores for these games. So Angel Reese had against George Mason, which was the first game in the tournament. She had 21. LaDazia Williams had 13. Flau'jae Johnson had 10. Alexis Morris had 13. Samaya Smith continues to be phenomenal. As we mentioned, she started some off the bench, but she had she started some. She's been coming off the bench here recently, and she's been putting up big numbers. 14 points for her in the George Mason game. That ended the streak, Reagan. Unfortunately, that ended the streak. They only scored 80 points. They couldn't break the record, which, as you told me, I didn't know this, but was held by Louisiana Tech, who was coached by none other than Kim Mulkey.
No. When she played there.
When she played there, sorry. I know you said Kim Mulkey was at Louisiana Tech when that had happened. She was a player, not a coach.
Yeah.
So they obviously dominate George Mason, and then against UAB, they almost got it done against George Mason, but Angel Reese, again, your leading scorer, 25 points. She could have gone off for a whole lot more.
You had 3 players with double-doubles in this game. 3.
Yeah, because she had 25 and 10. Flau'jae had 19 and 13. And then Jasmine had 12 and 12. And Alexis Morris had 19 points. Samaya Smith, again, the leading scorer off the bench. They're deep, man. I mean, they're just really good. They're a really good basketball team, man, and they're going to compete. They've gotten as high up as 11 in the country right now. I will say though, South Carolina looks really good as well too. They knocked off Stanford in the 1 versus 2. Yeah. So, that's really your only competition. I think that's your only big competition in the SEC, because I think everybody else they're going to play is they're not ranked. You'll play a good Tennessee team, but you get them at home. Let's look at the rest of the schedule here. So they're going to play Southeastern tomorrow night at 7. We're going to definitely want to watch that game. They got Tulane at Tulane. Then they have New Orleans, Lamar, Montana State in the Maui Classic. They will play Oregon State in the Maui Classic as well. And then you get into SEC play, and you play Arkansas at Arkansas, the first game of the SEC. And Arkansas is looking pretty good too. They're undefeated. They're at 8-0. You got Vanderbilt at home. That's very winnable. A&M at home, winnable. You play a pretty good Kentucky team on the road. Decent Missouri team on the road. You got to host Auburn. You play Arkansas again at home. Bama at home. Tennessee at home, which Tennessee now has fallen off. They're 4-4.
Right.
I didn't even see. I don't. That's how much it shows.
You very well could be undefeated till the South Carolina game.
You could. I mean, but you're going to play some good SEC teams. They're just not ranked. Which some of them may end up being, like Arkansas is 8-0 right now.
Yeah.
And Georgia's 7-1, which a lot of these teams are playing terrible teams. But yeah, I mean, you're going to be probably favored in every single SEC game outside of South Carolina when you go to South Carolina. That's going to be a massive, massive matchup on Sunday. I'm going to have to get out of church and go grab some food and then go get to the couch, man. Because
South Carolina.
Yeah, that's South Carolina. It's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. But, man, can you imagine if they win that game? So, girls look really, really good right now. Peyton said, who cares about basketball? Let's talk baseball. Peyton, I know you love baseball.
I'm right there with you, Peyton.
How much farther out are we? I mean, how far are we? We got a couple
less than 100 days. Less than 100 days.
Is it February? February, right? Yep. He said
I'm right there with you, Peyton.
Peyton, they're going to compete for a natty this year, bro. Not just the SEC.
No question.
Let's knock on wood here, Ryan. He said baseball will win the SEC and compete for a college. Knock on wood, bro. You better start knocking on wood right now. He said Angel Reese is her. Women win the SEC. We'll see. You got to get through South Carolina. Kim could be the next Pat Summitt. I think she is. She's definitely balanced right now. Too bad she's not going to be coaching for more than 8 years. Well, you never know.
We'll see. We'll see.
They played through South Carolina last year. Yeah, they played tough from last year. Yeah, and
you got a better team.
And you got a better team. Yeah, I agree.
I'm telling you right now, Angel Reese is a mismatch nightmare,
dude. She's
for women's basketball,
dude.
It's
too easy when you. When we were watching her the other day, they're on Saturday. We flipped to the game during all the halftime breaks. I think the game came on at 1:00, and there was a lot of games that were at halftime football wise. And I was like, let's go watch the girls real quick. And there was just no competition for her at all.
There's not many women's team that have someone of her stature, at all.
She is just a very, very good basketball player, and as you said, she's arguably the best player in the country. So yeah, this women's team. Look, guys, if you are an LSU fan and you're not paying attention to women's basketball, you need to be. You need to start paying attention. Look, I've been one of those that really didn't pay attention, but we didn't have much to pay attention to.
Right.
Honestly. And now you do. Last year we started paying attention because they won and they looked good with a team that is not as talented as this year. And this year you're very talented. You're very deep. Your bench is good. And obviously you have Kim Mulkey as the head coach. So they are going to be phenomenal the rest of the way. Let's see how they do. Reagan, you ready to take a break and then call it?
Yeah, we'll hit a quick break and we'll come back and we'll wrap it up after this.
Make sure you go follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Tigers Avenue. for daily updates on the show and all things LSU sports. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to click off and hit that subscribe button at Tigers Avenue. We broadcast all of our shows live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
Hey, I'm going to tell you something right now we ain't talked about yet. Let me hit this comment real quick. Angel could play with the boys. She could. She might. I mean, KJ may have a run at it. He may have a run for his money against Angel. I mean, she very well could. Something we ain't talked about because this is an LSU podcast. But the United States of America is playing Iran tomorrow in the World Cup at 1 p.m. I know some of you could care less about it, but if the United States wins, they move on to the knockout 16 team next round. Big game in the World Cup for the United States tomorrow. So if you can, tune in because I am going to be watching tomorrow at 1 p.m. No doubt about it. I'm watching the World Cup, pulling for the United States men's, what they did against England. So, Zach, I know you're listening in the background. To put this into perspective, y'all, to give y'all some kind of glimpse of this, because we as Americans do not get, we don't watch soccer or football, as they call it, like the rest of the world does. We had a draw against England 0-0, and it awarded the United States a point. We got awarded a point, within the group stage. It was a huge deal for us to draw 0-0. And some people are like, well, they drew. It was a scoreless draw. What does it matter? Let me put this into perspective. This is as if England came to America and played American football. And the American team and the England team played each other in a game of American football. And you put the best players in the entire United States of America on the American team. Like, we're talking Tom Brady at quarterback, Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams at receiver. We're talking Travis Kelce at the tight end position. We're talking like Aaron Donald, defensive tackle. The best players in the world against England, and they hold us scoreless. That is what the United States did to England. It was a huge deal. So for the United States tomorrow to have an opportunity to beat Iran and move on is a big deal. Someone needs to be impeached if the USA loses to Iran tomorrow. No doubt. If we lose, I'm going to be so mad. If we draw, I'm going to be so mad. So be pulling for the old red, white, and blue tomorrow as they play Iran because they need to win so they can move on and continue to represent the United States well in the World Cup. Yes, I agree, Ryan. American football is better than soccer. I have to agree. I have to consent. All right, guys. It's been a great show. I know this past weekend really stunk. But look, you get to strap up this Saturday and go play for an SEC championship. I don't care if it's Georgia. I don't care if it's the top team in the nation. I don't care. The fact that we're doing this year one is awesome. I want to play for SEC championships. I want to compete to be the best of the best in the SEC and then maybe here down the road compete for national championships, which, I know we blew it this Saturday, but that was in the view of the realm of this year. So I'm pretty excited about the future of LSU football. Let's not hang our heads in despair for so long and just gloom over the A&M game. Let's go play the Georgia Bulldogs and play them hard. And then let's go win a bowl game, and let's look forward to a really, really positive-looking year next year. Maybe Jaden Daniels comes back. I don't know. Joe Burrow, 2018. We had a decent season, went 9-3, lost a really crappy game at A&M. Came back 2019, 15-0, national champs, Heisman winner. History repeats itself. Maybe, just maybe, Jaden Daniels comes back and he's the Heisman winner and we win the maybe. Future's bright for the LSU football Tigers, no doubt about it. Look, we'll re-preview the SEC Championship this coming Friday in our next episode. So we'll see you then in the Tigers Avenue. 5-Star Hero, take us out. Peace.